Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Dragon Stompy, ignore the marquee, it is not accurate, versus Bant, and we're going to be looking for a first turn City of Traders or Ancient Tomb into something like a Chalice of the Void, or as we see here, Blood Moon. Chrome Mox helping out there and printing Simeon's Spirit Guide. The monkey now kind of living its best life, providing red mana every single turn. It's also an additional body. Sometimes that's actually how this deck wins. These Chalice-style Stompy decks using Soul Lands, Ancient Tomb and City of Traders, occasionally called Soul Lands, as they tap for 2, just like the Soul Ring back and Revised. And Simeon's Spirit Guide, can help out if your opponent's locked out under a Blood Moon and a Chalice, can't play any spells. Sometimes a 2/2 body is good enough to take it down. Bant, however, does have like 6 basic lands in the deck, so we'll see if Dragon Stompy is going to be able to lock them out. Trinisphere adds to the lock components. And now a Goblin Rabblemaster is an actual clock, but Endurance is flashed in, and that's going to hold off these 1/1 bodies. Those tokens that Rabblemaster makes can just crash into Endurance each turn. They have to attack, though the Rabblemaster himself does not need to. Not sure what the shuffling is about. Oh, it must be the Endurance targeting himself. Yeah, because it's not going to be any shuffling. That's probably the majority of what this Blood Moon is going to do, is stop the shuffle effect. So a card like Brainstorm. And then we got a little bit of an issue there. I believe there's going to be a judge call. We had Brainstorm and Endurance at the same time, so I'm just going to skip over that. All right, so that judge call taken care of. End result is the Endurance is back in Bant's hand, and Magus of the Moon now resolving for Dragon Stompy. We've got an end of turn Dress Down. And now a 3-mana Euro, so losing out on the card draw, but Dress Down sticking around. And then that Euro able to actually show up despite the mana problem. So usually escaping that, you need double blue, double green. Pretty tough to do underneath the moon effects. You need to get 2 basic islands without fetching. But Dress Down enabling Euro to show up and eventually get some card advantage out of him. They will be drawing a card every time that Euro attacks, gaining 3 life, potentially making extra land drops. So this is it's a dangerous board, a 6/6 and a 3/4. Chandra on the other side here for Dragon Stompy, but she's more of an engine for when the board is clear. Now you can clear the Endurance with her. Probably correct to, but just digging for answers. Yeah, revealing a mountain off of Chandra. Not super helpful here. Soul lands all just mountains right now, thanks to the Blood Moon effect. And Endurance shows up. Turning sideways, drawing a card. Chandra, it has been cleared, and now a Sylvan Library. Nice FBB version of the card. And that is it for the game. Facing down just an overwhelming amount of power on the board, despite having a first turn Blood Moon. I'll tell you, that is a really tough matchup here, as Bant has so many basics. A lot of the time, control decks will flounder and ultimately fail against a first turn Blood Moon, as it shuts off all of their fetches and they're unable to get the colors of mana that they need, relying primarily on dual lands. For example, if you're a basically blue deck, finding that black mana for some of your support cards can be really difficult, as you're usually using Underground Sea as compared to like multiple basic swamps. But that is not the case with Bant. It's really a solid mana base, and That is just not what you want to see when you're playing a deck like Dragon Stompy. Ideally, your opponent's not going to get to play a game of Magic. You get to first turn Chalice, second turn Blood Moon, or vice versa. Just kind of make sure that they don't get to play anything. That's pretty ideal, but Bant really refusing to just fold to a single permanent. See what happens game 2 and possibly 3. Basic Mountain for Dragon Stompy. Prismatic Vista can fetch out a basic. City of Traders into Blood Moon. Of course, fetching in response. Particularly hurtful when your opponent's able to fetch out basics versus your Blood Moon. Ancient Tomb sets you back. I'm sorry, City of Traders or Ancient Tomb end up getting set back a turn thanks to the Blood Moon instead of ramping. And Swords to Plowshares takes out a Legion War Boss. It's kind of like a Rabble Master 5 through whatever. Oh, Simian Spirit Guide. These feel like desperate times. That Legion War Boss. Another one of those cards at 3 mana that can go on to win the game if your opponent's kind of away from the board for a little bit. If they're unable to do things for a couple of turns, the situation will get very out of hand. Swords to Plowshares easily taking care of that. That Flooded Strand can, in fact, tap for red mana under Blood Moon. But he will not need it there as we have Prismatic Ending taking out the enchantment. Then an Abundant Harvest. Going to be able to dig for either a land or a non-land. Really interesting addition. And grabbing Tropical Island. Looks like we're going for lands. Some good cards. Finding a fetch. Simian Spirit Guide continuing to beat down. Not exactly the 2-power monkey that you want to be attacking with in this format. Chalice of the Void feels very late. All of this mana. Oh, Engineered Explosives at 0, so just looking to do a 1-for-1 here to clear the Chalice. Maybe able to keep it around for a little while. If there's no pressing 1-mana spells to cast, you might as well keep the EE on board, preventing any other Chalices from arriving. And Fury now. Just a double striker. A Swords to Plowshares clearing the new elemental before it can even do any damage. Just a 2-2 beater. Not likely to be able to beat this control deck on its own. Actually using a Prismatic Ending to clear the ape, but another one replaces it. Ponder. With no Chalice and no Blood Moon, there's very few games that are going to actually win with a 2-2 Simian Spirit Guide. That is usually capable of getting the job done only when your opponent has literally no plays to be making. Almost anything they can do is better than a 2-2 ape. Another Ponder. Guess on the upside is Dress Down doesn't get rid of any of its useful abilities. Swords to Plowshares takes out the Legion War Boss. It's got to hurt Simian Spirit Guide's feelings a little bit. That Swords was probably in hand the whole time that he was doing work and just could not be bothered to be used. Jace the Mind Sculptor shows up and bounces the Simian Spirit Guide. He comes back down. Jace is at 2. Got a Brainstorm off of Jace. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the Sylvan Library. And then Jace bounces Again, the Simian Spirit Guide. Oh, and Meddling Mage shows up and actually names Simian Spirit Guide. That is comical. This is really just all on Chandra right now, but it's tough to imagine he's going to be able to get the job done versus both a Sylvan, a Jace the Mind Sculptor, and a Meddling Mage. But that looks like a Brainstorm. Okay, so that was the Jace's ability. The Sylvan Library, you do have to be careful to not mix the cards in with the rest of your hand. You have to put back cards that you revealed with the Sylvan. Jace the Mind Sculptor is actually a Brainstorm effect. We got Magus to the Moon. Get Swords to Plowshares. Sylvan. Fetching a basic island. Yeah, despite having the powerful Planeswalker for Stompy, this is not looking good. Ice Fang Kotal. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Brainstorming away. At some point, you may be able to actually just use Jace's Fate Seal ability to close this one out. Dragon Stompy is pretty high in mana sources. You could probably just only leave mana on top a good chunk of the time. Euro. And Escaping Euro. 7 mana to draw 2, gain 6, and get a 6/6 body. Which just so happens to be very difficult to kill. This has gone from bad to worse for Dragon Stompy as Bant seems like they're completely in the driver's seat. And that is going to do it. Dragon Stompy scooping it up, as there's really not much to be done there. Euro, Meddling Mage, Ice Fang Kotal, everything teaming up to just absolutely overwhelm this Dragon Stompy deck.